Okay, everybody, how is it going? This is your boy Double G, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys some Zoodiac in 2022, question mark. Yeah, this is probably the cringiest thing I've ever said in my life. Anyways, we're going to get straight into this test hand video. I've been toying around with Zoodiac if you've been following around the channel. I think Zoo's actually really good right now. It's going to take a good pilot, of course. You can't just hop on DB and expect making Zeus to be the end-all be-all. You actually have to go, learn the matchups, learn different lines of play to pretty much play this deck now, which makes it a lot more skillful in my opinion, but at the end of the day, it is still kind of Zeus Turbo. Rest in peace, Trident. But yeah, I'm gonna do 6 test hands, so let's get straight into this. And I'm gonna use this dice to represent what test hand we are on. And of course, we have the Waifu Ib at the top, and let's get it. Okay, first test hand. We're gonna open up Thoroughblade. We open up Chalice, Imperm, Desires, and hopefully Phantasma. Cataroost. This card's really slept on. I'm going to be straight up and honest. I think Cataroost is the best Zoodiac in my opinion. Forcing out Valor before the battle phase is really good. And then of course protection against Yugioh because that card doesn't actually have to activate the main phase. So I mean, this card's amazing right here. But yeah, going first, you only open up 1 interaction with our opponent, which is a little bit unfortunate. Usually I open up 2 to 3, but at the end of the day, Imperm, if an Imperm is properly placed, it can do a little bit of damage to weaken your opponent's board. But yeah, nonetheless, we draw our next card. And this is one of those scenarios where I open up 3 Zoodiac monsters. Now, if you don't follow the channel already, you should know anytime you open up more than 2 Zoodiac monsters, you're always going to use Thoroughblade to pretty much pitch off 1. The reason why is, well, usually you want to make sure your hand's good enough. But the reason why I usually do that is because of the fact that, 3 Zeus is nice, yeah, in a follow-up sense, but the fact is, I rather get more and more cards in my hand. More new cards is more important than just having extra Zoo, in my opinion. So I did open double Thoroughblade, depending on your matchup. If I'm playing against a deck that likes to run a lot of hand traps or targeting via monsters like Sword Soul, I can summon the Cataroost, I can proceed to make a Borbo and swing into my opponents directly. Or, if I'm playing against a deck like Invoke Shaddoll Dogmatica, I can drop the Imperm as the first play. We can drop Desires to pretty much ensure that this card will go off. And if you already dropped your Zoo, make sure that the Desires is in a column where there's no set cards so you can't play into Imperm. We didn't do any damage, as you see. If you're wondering why I'm on Avarice, I'm going to explain that later in the video. We're going to draw 2 no cards. Hey, look, we can out Appaloosa. We also can out literally any monster on the board. That can be targeted, granted, But then, yeah, we have double Chalice. If this comes in handy, this is really great, of course. Unfortunately, I'm playing a deck that I kind of want to get these, but I need Droplets. When Droplets gets reprinted, I'm going to pick them up. But yeah, you have the double Droplets, the Ghost Ogre, that's not bad right there. And then of course, like I said before, I'm actually going to normal Thoroughblade and use its ability. We're going to pitch Rooster from hand, and we're going to draw 1 card. We drew into Desires. Desires into Desires is not bad, don't get me wrong. Desires is an amazing follow-up. But yeah, of course, like I said before, I tend to make Zeus or Borbo in the extra monster zone just to make my opponent kind of force out their hand traps. But yeah, we go make Borbo, because once they see it go in the extra monster zone, they kind of assume you're playing Eagle Boosters. I'm not on Eagle Boosters. I think that card is, it's good in a theory, but it just makes your play so slow. Like, I don't know what it is, but anytime I play Eagle Boosters, I just end up regretting at the end of the day. Either 1, because it's dead, or 2, it makes it so I can't push for a game, and it's just kind of sitting in my hand, So, you could play it if you want. I personally don't think it's necessary at all. And then, of course, you attack with this 16. I tend to use Chakanine, and then I go Hammer Kong because I find the Tiger Mortar more important. So we're going to go on and make this. If you're trying to play around Nibiru, make a 2 material Zeus instead. And of course, you can make these Zeus. And pretty much just sit on it from here. You can set the 2 Chalices, not bad at all. You have 2 negates right here, if you haven't used them already. And then a Zeus with 4 Sens. I always like to hold Zeus if worse comes to worse. Never just, Zeus and nuke everything you have. And yeah, that's pretty much the first test stand. I'm not trying to take too long because I can be a chatty Cathy at times. Or a chatty, the male version. But yeah, let's get it. Next test hand. Test hand number 2. And yeah, if you hear my voice, it's a little bit messed up. I just got out of a cold. So that's why I did not upload a video yesterday. But yeah, let's get it. Second test hand. Okay, we're gonna open up Duster, Tenki, Ash, Whiptail, Phantasme. I love Phantasme in this deck. I'm gonna go over why just in a moment. Now normally I wouldn't like to say, yeah, we're gonna use Phantasme, but this is one of those scenarios where I really do not care. I'm just gonna use it to show off kind of what it does in this deck. So yeah, we can Phantasme. I'm not gonna, you know, draw any cards off it because it is a mandatory effect, but it does include RNG, especially because it depends on your matchup. But pretty much what the Phantasme does is it sticks on board and it protects your cards from being targeted. It's really, really good. And of course, you have the Ash on your opponent's turn. Potentially, Phantasme would get you, let's just say they summon one Link monster. You can grab a Bell and an Avarice, depending on what you need. These right here. And then, of course, what we draw for turn is Bell. We normal summon, or actually, let's go ahead and use Tenki. We're gonna go and use Tenki. You can make a 6 material Zeus. Like I said before, depending on your matchup, you gotta know your matchups with this deck. That's a really important thing about this deck. Is always know your matchup. Depending on which matchup is gonna be the reason why you search any one of these cards right here. So if you wanna search a Ram, and you're probably gonna be playing against something either an Imperm or a trap-based strategy. That we're going first, of course, to float. But Sword Soul, you want to search Cataroost or, you know, Monster Removal. Stuttering. And then, of course, if you're playing at Striker or any deck that likes to target on your turn with spells, you just may Bunny Blast. In this instance, I'm going to grab the Ram just because... Or actually, let's go ahead and grab... let's grab the Bunny Blast this time. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day because, I mean, Phantasme kind of protects us. But I'm going to grab the Bunny Blast just so I can kind of show off what it would do in the Striker matchup. This turns off, you know, all the Striker spells and whatever. I can just discard the Bell if worse comes to worse. We can Duster, just getting rid of the threat or baiting negate. We can normal the Zoodiac Bunny Blast, make the Borbo. Usually whenever you have the Borbo, do not make an EMZ if you already have a Phantasme there. Because of the fact that... they're going to assume you're bad because usually people are on Eagle Boosters when they do that. Also, you know, you could play into weird, like, column cards and all that, so... I personally just think put it in the main monster zone if you already have something there. And then, of course, you swing with this, swing with that. Hammer Kong, Chaka 9. Zeus. Or, of course, you can make a Tiger Mortar on top. Effect a Whiptail. Make it pretty beefy, and then make a 6 material Zeus. Now, I do not recommend making a 6 material Zeus. I am very, I'm not against making 6 material Zeus, but the fact is, I just think having a 6 material Zeus is really, really good in tandem with Phantasme, but when you don't have Phantasme, it's kind of like meh. It's like a 6 material Zeus is only good if your opponent's top decking. That's really the truth. But, you know, that sounds kind of newbie, but, you know, if you draw multiple... If I had another Zoodiac in hand, I'd be fine with making a 6 material Zeus. But I just want the follow-up. Follow-up's too important, you know? But yeah, that's another test hand, of course. Zeus Turbo, Zoodiacs. Now let's get straight into the third test hand. Like I said before, I'm doing 6 of these. Halfway through there at 10 minutes. I'm gonna speed it up, I promise. Okay, let's get it. Third test hand. We're gonna do the good old cut. I believe I forgot to last time. And let's get into the test hand. Ram Desires, Valor, Ogre, and Thoroughblade. Okay, so obviously this shuts down the Brave/Adventure package right here. So if you drop this correctly against the Brave package, I mean, you just kind of win. You have Valor to stop, you know, Needle Fibers, Azolds, anything. You can literally just stop whatever cards you need. And then, of course, you draw for turn. We draw a Ghost Spell. Now, A lot of people think Ghost Bell is kind of trash top decking. I think it's actually really good at top deck. I'm not playing this at 3 copies in this deck just because of the fact that it does become clunky. But keep in mind, this stops Scythe. You know, this stops Scythe right here. This literally stops any card that would banish itself from grave, not as cost, to summon itself, or add anything from the grave to the deck or hand. So yeah, I mean, it's really good. So yeah, let's get it. Anyways, we open up the Thoroughblade, Ram, Pot of Desires, and 3 hand traps, depending on where you want to place them. I'm just going to go and discard these because, I mean, realistically, you know, you're going to go in and get rid of these on your opponent's turn. We're going to fire off Desires, attempting to bait out some negates. We're going to banish our 10 cards. I believe that's 10 right there. Let's see what we banished. Double Phantasme, Ash, Imperm. So we banished all our Phantasmes. I mean, you know, Desires kind of cuts it for us, which is really nice, but, you know, that kind of is a pain because I like Phantasme in this deck. Now, this is one of these scenarios where I'm actually fine with either making a 6 material Zeus or making the draw off Thoroughblade. Depending on what your interruptions are, I like to just go ahead and sell my 4 material Zeus and hold these for follow-ups, which I'm going to do in this test hand, as you're going to see here. But I'm going to go ahead and let's assume we're playing its back row because we didn't open up a card like Duster. We're going to normal summon the Ram. We're going to go ahead and attempt to make the Borbo. The Imperm you can go Borbo effect, detach Ram. And if you're wondering how that actually works, like I said before, is Zoodiacs gain effects depending on what their materials are. So Ram gives it effect if a trap targets it, I can pretty much detach and negate it. And then Bunny Blast is for spells, and Cataroost is for monsters. So yeah, we go to make the Borbo, we attack directly. You can use Chalice if they try to, you know, chain anything or activate anything during battle. M2, 4 material Zeus. And then, of course, you know, if you're trying to get greedy and, you know, this is game 1, they're probably not running Kaijus, you can make the 6 material Zeus. I don't think it's a good idea unless you're on Eagle Booster, and I'm personally not a fan of that card, so, I mean, do what you want, but I feel like the payoff, just having more and more Zeus is more important. And for the next turn, of course, we top deck a Pancratops. So, I mean, it's decent. This wasn't the best test hand, but obviously, you know, if this were to go through, you pretty much got it from here. Now, as you see, I'm on cards like Bell, called by Bells, Imperms, Chalices, and some other hand traps. These are actually for Scythe. Not every single one of these cards is obviously for Scythe, but I think they're really good in just being able to stop so many cards in general, especially for rogue matches as well. And then, of course, you know, Scythe, you know, pretty much does it. I forgot to cut. There we go. There's no way we're drawing that one of, like, back-to-back. Tenki, Imperm. This is the Whiptail. Red Reboot. And Thoroughblade. We only have 1 to 2 interaction on our opponent's turn, obviously. If they try to activate, like, Shade Brigandine, do not activate Red Reboot unless they have 1 card in hand. And even then, you know, you should... I hold this. Just trust me, hold this. We have the Imperm. Usually I actually like to hold this for my turn so I can, like, force negate. But nonetheless, I mean, it's fine. So we're going to go in and top deck. We get the Desires. We're going to deck thin, so we're going to go Tenki. We're going to bait out an Ash if they do have it. And then, of course, grab whatever Zoodiac you deem necessary. Sometimes I actually like to grab Double Whiptail because of the damage deck banish effect. But in this, we're going to assume we're playing against some trap-heavy strategy. So since we have the Red Reboot, I do believe still searching the Ram's correct, because if they have Solemn, they can negate Red Reboot, right? And then we can just go Ram if we haven't committed anything to the board. So we're going to go and activate that, search out the Ram, and activate Pot of Desires. So we're going to go banish the top 5 cards of our deck and another top 5 cards to go in and see the damage. We hit Chalice, Pancratops, a copy of Cataroost, Ash, Imperm, Whiptail, and another Chalice. We're going to go ahead and draw our 2. We got the Call By, not bad at all. We did unfortunately draw under the Tenki. If you want to run Lightning Storm, you have to play Droplets if you want to play Lightning Storm the main, because Tenki can be a sacky card. That or just don't play this at all. But then, of course, we're assuming we're playing against a trap-based strategy, so we're going to normal the trap stopper right here. They try to hit us with anything, we can go Red Reboot. We have the Imperm if you wanted to do that before. You have the Called By. I mean, you know, this is pretty much everything you need in order to break the board. You can go Borbo, attack, 1, 2, Zeus, and there you go. You know, you got the Thoroughblade Whiptail, you have the Imperm. Nice interaction on your opponent's turn. You got 2 sends off the Zeus, potentially 6 if you want to use that Whiptail. I just don't deem it necessary, like I've said a million times. But yeah, let's get straight into the 5th test hand. Now, I know Zoodiac doesn't really have any combos. I'm not sure what I'm about to ramble on about, but you know, it's nice to make test hands for decks even though they're not really necessary like this. Just because I want to talk about like certain interactions and certain tech cards that most of you guys probably aren't even playing. Like, I think I've seen at least like 4 Zoo profiles in the past month or so, and more than half of them aren't even on Cataroost or even Bunny Blast. I don't understand that. They're playing Rapier, but they're not playing Cataroost or Bunny Blast. Like, that's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But, you know, different players, different expectations. Let's get it. 5th test in, there's not really a need for a cut, but double Ram, Called By, Imperm, Chalice. Of course, you have the Imperm on the opponent's turn. This isn't really going to cut it, in my opinion. You know, this definitely can break the board, but I kind of wish we drew double hand traps in this scenario. So you can drop this, we can draw a card, we draw an Ogre. We have Chalice for the Apo, we have Called By for Scythe, we have Ram, double Rams. I'm going to summon the German, and then we're going to go ahead, negate something, stop Scythe Lock, stop Apo. You know, we have a lot of options here, obviously. Attack directly, make the 4 materials Zeus, and then, of course, nuke the board if you deem necessary. And that's pretty much it for that test hand as well. I'm going to hope and pray if we actually get a nasty test hand for this last one. Let me get a good old shuffle. The 6th and final test hand. Let's get it. Okay, the final test hand. We open up Whiptail. No, I'm kidding. This is a meh hand. I'm already saying that. It's a meh hand. Bell, Imperm, and this is our card we're about to top deck right here. So yeah, Imperm, Bell, Thoroughblade, double Whiptail. This is actually really good right here. As long as you see 2 hand traps, you're usually set for the turn. Obviously, I'd like to see a removal over these Whiptails, but I mean, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. This stops a lot of decks right here. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and draw the next card. We draw into the copy of the Ghost Ogre. We can stop like cards like Apo, and you can like continuous spells on the field. We can go ahead and normal Thoroughblade. I'm going to do it. We're going to go into discard to draw 1. I believe this is, yeah, that's Ram. We can go ahead and make the Borbo. We're going to put it in the EMZ, attack directly. Make the 4 material Zeus. And then, of course, you could have dropped the Imperm last turn or whenever you deem necessary. But yeah, I mean, that's Zoodiac. It's a pretty simple deck. It does require a lot of skill, even though it is a bit of a helmet playstyle in a sense. But yeah, if you guys have any question, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comments below. I definitely enjoy making these videos, so please like, consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.